So to get our wings crispy, we're going to be dredging them in a dry batter consisting of flour and baking powder. Now you're going to want to have equal amounts of each. So make sure you keep up with how much flour you put in there, because you're going to want to put an equal amount of baking powder in there. Next, you're going to want to toss, like I said, dredge your wings, all of your wing sections, in that baking powder and flour mixture, and then just set them aside while you get the grill ready. All right, y'all, the coals are ready. So let's get these coals dumped. Here we go. We're just going to divide these coals evenly between the two baskets. A couple of them came out. Woo, it's hot in there. No way these ain't getting crispy, bruh. Put these on very carefully. I'm going to add some wood chunks to both sides. So put a couple of pieces on this side. Put some on the other side as well, so I can get them to stay on top of the coals. Now let's put the lid on. Let this grate get nice and hot while I go get the turkey wings. I think I'm gonna come out here maybe every 10 minutes or so and just rotate this lid a little bit so I can make sure that everybody's getting the same amount of smoke. So this is my grill setup. This is about 10 to 15 coals. I'm gonna put them in the middle so that they burn down and out. That's gonna give me a consistent temperature for at least a couple of hours. So while the grill is coming up to temp, it's time to turn our attention to this whole turkey breast. Get inside and get it all prepped up. Now I have already done a 3-day dry brine on this turkey breast. A dry brine is basically where you take kosher salt, sprinkle it lightly all over the bird. Now, we're talking about the same way you would season your food if you were putting some salt on your meat. So you sprinkle it lightly all over the bird, and then you put it in the fridge uncovered and let it sit there for 3 days and let that brine work its magic. I just pulled it out of the fridge. Look at the skin, see how tight it is, see how it's kind of translucent. That dry brine changes the skin, the salt penetrates the meat, changes the fibers. It's amazing. That's all I can say, man. I'm going to do an injection with some Tony Chachere's, and then we'll be ready to put this thing on the grill. My grill is in the range that I want it to be now. So I'm gonna put this pan in here, fill it with hot water. That's gonna help regulate the temperatures. It acts as a heat sink. It also keeps the environment inside of there moist. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that and then close down the top lid just a little bit so we can regulate this temperature. I don't want it to shoot past the range that I want it to be in. Now we gotta play the waiting game again. We gotta wait till everything gets back up to temperature. But the good news is I don't have any more reasons to open up this lid until it's time to put that turkey on. And again, that's between 275 and 300. Top thermometer is the temperature inside of the meat, and the bottom is the temperature inside of the grill. We're gonna watch this one right here, because when it gets to 165, or actually right before 165, I'm gonna come out here and pull this thing off. All right, now we just wait. I just came out here and this bird is looking real good, and it's up to temp. It's time to take this thing off, man. Let's get it. I'm going to show you 2 simple things that, if you're not doing them already, will make your next ham the best one you ever cooked. And we're going to get straight into the first one right now. First thing I want you to do, if you've never done it before, is grab a sharp knife and I want you to cut all that thick hide off of your ham. It just gets thrown away anyway. It's too thick and too tough to chew. It doesn't break down. But most importantly, almost none of your seasonings and foods and glazes is going to get past it. Not very much smoke is going to get past it either. It's just there getting in the way of everything you're trying to do to make your ham taste better. So let's just cut it off. So when you start cutting this skin off, I want you to try to leave a layer of fat on the ham. Also try not to cut into the meat too much. After that's done, what I like to do is just, again, grab my sharp knife, and what I'm gonna do is just start making some shallow cuts into the surface of that ham. And what these cuts will do is help everything you put on that ham penetrate further into the ham. And that's what's gonna make the huge difference. That's one of the things that's gonna make a huge difference in the way your ham is gonna taste this time around. All right, so now it's time to season the ham, and this time around, I'm using this Kinder's brown sugar rub. Man, it's so good. It tastes like somebody took some brown sugar and put it on a grill. That's the best way I can describe it. But it's great on just about anything that you want a sweet flavor to. Pork, ribs, all of that kind of stuff. But we're gonna use it on this ham today. Now, if you don't have that available, or you don't feel like going and get it, or you already have seasonings that you like to use on your ham, go ahead and use those, because I promise you, it's going to taste completely different this time without that hide in the way. After I'm done seasoning my ham, what I like to do is put it in the fridge and let it sit in the fridge and let those seasonings really penetrate while I get the grill up to temperature. So let's get out here to the grill and set it up. So it's time to set up the grill, and I want to be somewhere between 240 and 250. And to do that, I'm going to be using the minion method. This is where you start with a pile of unlit coals and then add a handful of lit coals, either to the top or at one end like I did here. Those lit coals will basically ignite the coals next to them, gradually traveling across the pile, so your grill maintains a constant low temperature for a long period of time. Now, if you're going to be adding some more smoke to your ham like me, keep in mind that these hams are already fully cooked and they've already been smoked once. Also keep in mind that smoke flavor tends to intensify overnight while it's in the fridge. So be careful not to add too much more smoke while you're warming it up, especially if you're going to be using a strong flavor like hickory. I used apple in this cook, and I'm only using a couple of pieces for that reason. So once everything was set up on the grill, I put my lid on, closed the bottom vent to about half. I left that top vent open, and I'll be coming back out here in about 30 to 45 minutes just to see if the temperature is where I want it. All right, so while we're waiting, this is a good time for me to tell you about the other thing that I think will take your ham to the next level, and that is basting. Basting your meat several times throughout the cook adds a lot of flavor. I never would have thought it, man. You know, when you look at it, you see the liquid just rolling down the side. You think it's not getting into the food. It is. So based on what I just saw just now, I think the grill is pretty much in range, and we can go ahead and put the ham on. Now, just because I opened the lid, I'm getting a spike right now, and that's what's going to happen. Anytime you open your lid, there's going to be a rush of oxygen, and it's going to make the temperature increase. But if you leave everything the same, close the lid, it should adjust back down to where it was. So we're going to give it a few minutes to do that, and then we're going to put this baby on. My ham has been smoking for about an hour, so it's time for my first baste. We're using apple cider vinegar, so let's get to it. Give it another turn. A little more apple cider. And then let's get this lid back on, get this wood calmed down. And I think I'll come back at about another 30. Time for an internal temperature check. I'm looking for somewhere between 140 and 150 for my internal temperature. A little deeper. So we're not there yet. We're just taking our time, keeping the temperatures low so it doesn't dry out. We're just gonna keep plugging along, man. I got one final step I want to do before I take this off. I got a little glaze. It's a brown sugar glaze with butter and brown sugar and apple cider vinegar. Shout out to AB, that's where I got that from. But we're gonna brush this on, give it about 10 minutes or so, and I think I'm gonna cut some slits in it to get it down into the meat a little bit better. But other than that, that's about it. This is a wrap, man. That's it, baby. We're gonna let that roll for about 10 minutes and this thing is done. All right, y'all. It's time to take this thing off. I don't know quite how long it's been on the grill. I'm gonna have to try to figure that out, but I know it's ready because the last time I did a temperature check, it was very close. So let's take a look. That's another one in the books, y'all. I appreciate you for hanging out with me and watching this one. More than that, though, I hope you decide to try it this year. It was slamming. Hey, do me a favor. If you liked this video, please give me a thumbs up. Also, if you're not a subscriber, consider hitting that subscribe button. I would really love to have you down with my team, man. It's fun on the grill, y'all. Later.